Girl, stop playing.
It's your favorite homegirl, Koereyelle, here to encourage you to stop playing with your potential and start working for what you want in life and in love. You already know that I believe you can make the money and you can get the honey. You can have it all as long as you are willing to work. So every single week, it's my goal to bring you the information and the conversations to help you do just that. And today is no different. We have an amazing guest joining us in the studio. But before I introduce my girl, I gotta let y'all know that this week's episode is brought to you by Pull Yo Card, a fun party game that will add a little razzle dazzle to your next game night, girls' night, vacation, family reunion, however you like to have your fun. This will add a little sizzle to your party. And you're going to get a little sample at the end of the show because we're going to play a little round and have a little fun. So without further ado, I am going to introduce y'all to this week's guest, Mrs. Put some respect on her name, Mrs. Aneesa Getaneh. Did I say it right?
Yes.
I had to spell it like how I was going to pronounce it, and I did it. Okay,
right.
I did it. All right.
Getaneh.
So my girl is the Proverbs 31 woman. I feel like you do so much. You have so many titles. I want you to introduce yourself because I love to be able to put some respect on your name.
Well, my name is Aneesa Getaneh, and I am the profitable Proverbs 31 woman. And I really just, when people ask me what I do, I'm like, I help women get pretty on paper. And they're like, what is that? I really teach financial principles, like try to simplify it for women that are credit ready and teach them from the principles of makeup. It's a lot of other stuff I do, but that's the part that I really enjoy, like teaching people about money and making it simple.
What made you get into that space?
Because I have bad credit.
I was going to say, usually it's like, I got to fix my credit, and because I'm learning how to fix my credit, let me help y'all do it too.
That's exactly what happened. So my initial, getting into knowing that I had bad credit was I wanted to start a nursing assistant school. And I was just naive, I guess. I just went in and applied for a loan, like, oh, they're going to give me money. They're like, girl, get out of here.
They said, girl, stop playing.
Girls, stop playing. And so I found out I had a 480 credit score. And then I was like, girl, it was 480.
What's the lowest?
You can get about 300.
Really?
I mean, that's just, or nothing at all. You could have no score at all. But I had a 480, and I was like, oh, okay. So I contacted this lady, and I was like, okay, I need you to fix my credit. And then as we were going through the process, and I started to see the changes, I said, can you teach me how to do, I started to see how things were changing as my credit was changing. And so before I started the school, I got into the credit space because I was really intrigued by how different my life was just from
credit changes things.
It changes things. And so that's kind of how I got into it.
Yes. Okay. So I definitely want to get back into the pretty on paper because I just, I love me a good name. And I think that the concept of it is just like, yo, you got to be pretty on paper. Because like you said, your life can literally change just based on which, I do kind of feel some type of way because it's like, are y'all really just going to categorize us based off this one thing? They do though.
They do.
And it's reality, so you got to figure out how to play within
play the
their
game.
rules. Right. But I want to talk about the nursing school because the fact that you started a nursing school, help other people start nursing schools, I just am fascinated by how you even did this. So what were you doing before that, and how did you get into it?
So I was a nurse assistant. So I was that. And
That's a CNA?
Yes. I was a CNA.
You were doing all the hard jobs.
I was wiping butts and all that. I was actually, I worked in liver transplant ICU. So a lot of our patients would die. And so that's a real hard unit to work in. But that's where I started. I worked with HIV patients at home, and then I wanted to get into the hospital. So I got into the hospital, and I was actually the person that would clean the dead bodies.
Shut your mouth.
And put the tag on it, tag them and bag them so that they would go to,
Is there special training required for that? Or they're just like, this is what you're doing today?
You learn that as a nurse assistant, how to take care, how to, how to take care of life and to the end of death. At the end, Yeah. So that's, a lot of nurse assistants don't experience that because they're in different units. If they work in pediatrics, they don't really see that. But I worked in liver transplant ICU. So those people were really sick. A lot of isolation, which means you had to gown up to get into the room. So it was a really hard unit. But I remember telling people, like, they're like, oh, when are you going to be a nurse? And so it was all this pressure to become a nurse. And so I was like, okay. It was like 2008, which is crazy because we're kind of back into this like crazy economy. So I was applying for nursing school, and then the economy crashed, and all these people got into nursing. So it was like a huge waiting. It went from like an easy process to become a nurse to you have to wait 2 years. So I had to decide to continue just getting a regular degree and then not become a nurse. So I was a CNA for a long time with a bachelor's degree. But I remember nurses like, what do you want to do? And I said, I want to start a nursing assistant school. And they're like, you have to be a nurse. And I was like, oh, okay. So I just had this limited belief that I couldn't do it because they didn't believe that they can do it. And then I went and volunteered at this hospital that I wanted to work at. And I was working, and this lady stops me. She's like, are you a CNA? And I was like, yeah. She says, I really like how you're working. Like, you are really good at this. And so she says, well, tell me about yourself. I said, well, I have a, public health degree, a bachelor's of science. And she's like, wait, so why are you doing this? I was like, because, I had to give her the whole spiel. Did that, couldn't get into nursing school. I'm applying for master's of nursing. She was like, well, I want you to teach my CNA class. I'm going out on leave. Like, it was just a very unique situation. You normally don't have a CNA that has a bachelor's. So I went and got a teaching credential, and I was able to teach the class, which it was just a unique situation. But I was able to see how the business operated. So I taught the class from 8 to 12, and then it was a night class from 4 to 8, and it was full. And I just didn't understand, how was it full? And, it was just, I just saw the business model, and I was like, I want to do this. And so I still was working in the hospital, still was trying to figure out how can I have a nursing assistant school, but nurses would always tell me, you have to be a nurse, right? So I just kept digging and digging and digging, and then I realized when I looked at the paperwork, I was like, I don't have to be a nurse. Moved up into the hospital in the financial department, because at this time now I have a master's, but I'm still not a nurse. And so they had created this position for me, and they gave me a temporary position. They said, but if you can bring down the length of stay, we'll bring you on as permanent. Well, I did that, brought down the length of stay. I met the CFO because he was like, how did you do this? You saved us $90,000. Like, it was just a crazy, my roads have always been kind of crazy. And when I met him. Or were they
meant to be?
It was meant to be, right? I always say crazy, but yes. So I met him, and I was like, so what, kind of thinking maybe he's a doctor, or he had like a calligraphy degree. I was like, so this man is running this hospital. Like, so it really clicked to me. I need to go start this school because I don't have to be more than what I am. I can be exactly who I need to open the school. So started the process, opened up my first brick and mortar on Crenshaw. I'm from Crenshaw area.
Don't say it like that, because Nipsey put y'all on.
Listen, he put us on.
Yes.
But you know what? Nipsey has always been our brother. Like, if you were from
neighborhood
LA,
dip, right?
Yeah. So it was just, to see him grow was just a different, experience. But I started the school 2018, and that was the start of that. It was a partnership. It didn't work out. But I started to understand that I didn't need somebody. And I always felt like, if I start this business, I need somebody. And, I always had this little insecurity of like, I need someone else to help me. And so it didn't work out. But I took that curriculum, the brick and mortar, and I started to write out an online curriculum, which there was no such thing. So I presented it to the state of California, and I'm like, hey, I went to Pepperdine. We had a hybrid, like I'm doing half online, half on campus. Why don't we have this? And they're like, we don't know. So I started talking to the supervisors and, gave them an idea. And about 6 months after that, they opened up the application January 2019, I believe. It was before the pandemic. So I was already like thinking, ahead. And so I put it in. I got approved. So I was the first in Los Angeles, in California, to be approved for online.
Because it was your idea.
Yes, pretty much. I would say that. And so I was the first to do that. And it just continued on from there.
So what I'm gathering from this is, number one, it was meant to be.
Yes.
It wasn't some crazy thing that just kind of happened. It was literally like your path, right?
Yeah.
But what came out of that for me is that you didn't have to be anybody other than who you were.
Yes.
Because all of the people wanted to tell you who you needed to become in order to do this thing, and you proved that not to be true.
Exactly.
But you didn't need to be anybody else, and you didn't need anybody else to be able to make it happen.
You have all you need.
You have all you need.
That is literally the message that God keeps telling me over and over. You have everything you need.
I love
You gotta tap
it.
into that.
Yes, you have to tap into it, which is what you're doing, being the profitable Proverbs 31.
Oh my God.
So it's like literally all
is
coming full circle.
Yes.
So okay, but with the nursing school, you started the online nursing
Yes.
school, and now you help other people to be able to do the
So
same
I
thing.
do help. So at the end of this year, I'm going to stop.
Oh, she
helping
quits.
people.
Okay, well, we don't have to talk about that.
No,
You quit it?
I'm going to stop helping others
Okay.
because what I realized is that I'm trying to give someone my brain.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, I don't have to do that. So I'm going to turn it into a turnkey model where I'm going to branch out to other states. They can buy they basically can license it out.
So would it be like franchising kind of?
Franchising is like they own it. So they won't own it.
Okay.
I still will own it, but they can license it out like an annual license.
They can run it. Okay.
They can run it.
Okay.
And so I kind of changed the business model a little bit because I realized that I have gone through brick and mortar online. So it's makes sense to me.
Mm-hmm.
So what I'm actually doing is taking a lot of my time to give my brain to somebody else. And it's really hard to do that.
Yep.
So I said, okay.
And then expect them to execute.
And then expect. So let me just put it together for
Yeah.
you. It's kind of like with, do you give a new person like a rehab project or give them a turnkey property? So that's how I started looking at business. Business is just as much of an asset as real estate is.
Yep.
So I'm like, let me do these turnkey businesses.
Yes.
And so I'm changing the business model. And then I will, if they want to buy into the licensing, they can run as many classes as they want, but they have to pay for the curriculum, but I'll still own the schools.
Got you. Smart lady you are. Okay, so let's get back to the pretty on paper because I love that in all of the things that you've done, you've not only learned how to do it yourself, but then you've turned around and taught it to other people.
And I own it. Before I talk about it, I trademark it. Like I put my name, I put a stamp on it. So I'm always big.
So don't be using her name is what she tried to say.
Basically.
She is pretty on paper. Thank
Okay.
you. Thank you. Yes.
Exactly.
So you are teaching people how to repair their credit, how to improve their credit. Like
Yes.
are you doing the whole thing?
So we have tiers. So I started the credit business as a consultant. I'm a consultant and educator at heart. But I realized that my real love is to educate people that are almost there. So I have tiers. I have a lower level, the Pop Academy, where you can go in, you could do it yourself, and then you can come and ask me questions every month, like, hey, this letter I'm sending this, but it's more like a DIY kind of with you kind of ish. But the part that I really love is, so we have the Pop Academy, and then we have another mentorship where you're kind of almost there. Maybe your credit is 6 something, but you're like, I don't know what to do with it, and I want to leverage it. So I really want to work with women that are credit ready, that are just like, okay, I can, leverage this and invest. And so that's the direction we're going in, because Pretty on Paper is not just about credit. Credit is just the beginning, because then I go into, okay, how do you move your assets, or how do you move a liability and turn it into an asset? Like move your cars over into your business so it lowers your DTI. So it just started to go deep.
Do you still have a car dealership?
I do.
Sis is not playing no games. I just want y'all to know. I just need for y'all to know.
I do.
Yes.
But see, this is, okay, so I'll just say this about all my businesses, because I feel like people are like, do you do this and this and that? So I realized that everything that I do, I want it to be, and this is highly influenced, I would say, by Nipsey for sure, integrated vertically. So now I'm going deeper on all my businesses, right? My main focus is to train medical professionals and to equip them, right? But they have a lot of other issues. They have credit issues. They need transportation. So we're not going to service everyone. We're going to go deeper into your
person. Yeah.
Yes. So we're going to be integrated vertically with our businesses. So it's not just like, oh,
I'm just doing a million things.
No. And that was where I took a step back. I said, I want to do all these things, and I see a vision, but I want to make sure that it makes sense to me and it makes sense to the people that I'm serving. This is what we have. This is how we can serve you. So
I think you made a good point when you talk about like there's people who have that 480 and they're like, yo, I just need to like dispute some stuff or clean up my credit or get something removed or, you know, that stuff. But I feel like a big challenge that I personally have had, and I know a lot of other people experience, is when you're at 680, you're at 700, and it's almost like you've plateaued.
Yes.
Then what do you do? Give us some free game, Aneesa.
Yeah, so when you're plateauing, there's still something that you're not doing, right? Sometimes it could be inactivity. It could be that you're maxing out on your credit. So a lot of times you're paying on time, which is good, but you could have like maybe 5 or 6 credit cards and they're really high in your utilization. And so your credit it's not showing anything, any activity other than it going up. So there's ways that you can actually fix that. You can do a balance transfer. So with a balance transfer, you'll open up a new account and then you move over the balance, and then it lowers your
another card.
Yeah. So it's another card. Other ways is maybe cleaning up your inquiries. Sometimes that's the problem. Another thing could be your years of credit. So it could be that, you know, maybe you cleaned your credit 2 years ago, and so all of your accounts are 2 years old.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's just 5 factors. I like when I hear people tell me what's going on with their credit, I can almost know before I see it what's happening. So the plateau is usually utilization, the inquiries, or their credit is still kind of new. So the way to fix that too, because I talk about principles like with makeup, to enhance your credit is kind of like with your eyelashes, right? Like you could nurture your natural eyelashes by just adding mascara, but if you want to really enhance it, you can piggyback on someone else's credit, so you add the extensions. So
yes, tell them, tell the people.
Yeah, so if it's at that point where you only have like maybe 2 years or something, you can piggyback on someone else's credit, and that will definitely enhance your score
as an authorized user. Why are Black people so skeptical about things like this? Because I feel like other communities, this is what they do. This is just.
I think because. You're going to make me go too deep.
Go deep.
Well, so I have my great-grandfather. So I have a lot of history living, right? And so I get so much information from him. We only have about 100 years of ownership of anything, of our bodies. I mean, our bodies have still been on ballots and stuff like that. So I think that when you have a community our intention for America was only to be property. So when you move from being treated as property and then you're trying to have property, there's a lot of transitioning, a lot of mindset shifting. And I know that we say that things are so far back, but my great-grandfather, his mom worked for the people that enslaved her mom. That's not that long ago. You know what I mean? So we're still dealing with, you know, and then another thing, credit is still new. Credit started after World War II. Like, I do a lot of research. Like, I'm researching the economy. But it started after World War II, and it was really to get us to consume. Credit was, something that was out for people to buy new appliances and all of this. And we used it. Actually, credit wasn't really extended to Black people first. It was, they had, renting furniture and things like it wasn't real credit like the other communities.
Like do what you want to do with it. It was
right. We were giving credit to get a particular item,
right?
And they were already practicing credit. And then when we got access to credit, then we started abusing it, like using our kid's name. And so there's all these things that it's so many levels to it, right? And I see it from a historical place, but I think that we haven't had enough time of ownership. But once we continue, and I think that's why I'm so passionate about educating, because once we kind of demystify what credit is and we just understand it, then we can know what to do. Like, okay, my score is low right now. All I need to do is this, instead of making it like a big thing. So I think we're still new to money. We're still new to ownership. Like, we came here with the intention to be property of America. Like, they had insurance on our bodies.
Still do.
And they still do.
Still do.
So I think it's just, And I think we talk about generational wealth, which is good, right? But I think that first we need to deal with our mental stuff about finances, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then we can pass that on. Like my 17-year-old, he's talking about, he's a college recruit, and he's like, oh, Mom, I'm getting my NIL deal. So I want to take that and I want to buy a property. Like we're having normal
Yes.
but we're having normal conversations now. And I think that we need to normalize wealth.
Yes.
First.
Yes.
Doesn't mean that you have to have it first. Like you need to know what it takes to do it, and then just have normal conversations first. So I think we still talk about credit on such a small level, like, and I think honestly that's kind of why I elevated the people that I catered to, because I didn't want to just help someone get a car. And why I stopped extending even the car business just to regular consumers, because I would, like, we have finance, and they would come in and like, I want a Benz. And I'm looking at their credit like, then you can't even get a Sentra. Like,
these ain't Benz numbers.
Right. And they would want to put $10,000 down, and I'm like, but you can take that and put that. So I found myself advocating more for them than they were for themselves. So we just have so much to learn. It's so much to learn.
I love too that when you talk about even business credit, your whole thing is, I'm not just about to tell you. I mean, I will tell you how you can go out and get trade lines or credit limit or whatever.
Yeah.
But I want to educate you on what to do with it, which is the missing link that I feel like so many people run out and get these things, but then it's like, okay, now what? And then you end up in a bigger mess because you don't have a plan for it.
And honestly, I'll just be honest with you. Like, I think being in the credit space, I could have made more money if I didn't care. But I cared so much.
Man, if that ain't the biggest struggle we go through.
Wait, like, and so I would get clients and I'm like, okay, what do you, baby, I can't help you. I'm not about to,
We're not about to do this.
We're not about to do that. And so I do see there's a lot of people out there that's just teaching people, get business credit, do this, do that. And it's like, okay, what's next? So one of my things is like, okay, get your business credit, start your business. I had to tell one of my clients, baby, you need to go back and get a job. Like, you can't be a full entrepreneur. You don't have it. You're not. Like, just
not
be
there yet. Yeah.
Go get the job, do your side business, and then let's build from there. Like, don't let Instagram rush you.
Yeah,
listen,
gift and a curse.
Yes. So, but if they get the business credit, say they get $100,000 in business credit, take $50,000.
Pause right there, because what does that mean? $100,000 in business credit. Does that mean
revolving
on a credit card? Does that mean cash in your bank account? What does that mean?
No. So what I talk about when I say $100,000, I'm talking about revolving credit cards.
Okay.
Instagram, depending on who you're talking to, might be saying, vendors, net 30 accounts. And I don't dip into that. I do use net 30 accounts, but I don't use it to try to build credit outside of my social. I'm teaching people get good credit first and then start to leverage, because you have so much leverage once your credit is in place. So, no, I'm talking about revolving credit cards, which is, but so that's your first year. When you're first new in business, the only thing you really can get is credit cards.
And that's like your typical credit card when you say revolving credit card.
Business credit cards,
right,
which is different because you can get more on your business credit card than you would personal. You have people that are, hyped up about Navy Federal. That's on the personal side. You get $25K. But you can also do that on the business side, and it's not showing on your personal. And you don't want it to show on your personal, not because you're going to default, but just because your personal credit is highly affected by your utilization, by your usage. Business credit is not. They know that we're going to max out.
Right.
They know that. So we want to move it over and just kind of put our personal on autopilot, pay our personal bills and stuff like that. But when I talk about like $100K, which is easy to do with business credit, it's basically using I talk sometimes in such technical ways, but using the products that the banks have. So say, for example, Bank of America has 4 credit cards, business credit cards. So you get 4 business credit cards from Bank of America. Then you can
with
go
your
to
same
Chase
business.
with one business. So you look at the banks as relationships. You don't just have one relationship.
I need to call your boy. Speaking of, thanks for the reminder, but go ahead.
Yes. So you look at every bank as a relationship. So you have B of A. I'm in California. We don't have a lot of banks. Atlanta has a lot of banks that you can leverage. You have PNC, BB&T. Like those are other ones that we don't have. But you can go to the major banks and then go to small banks with one LLC and get access to business credit.
And it's based on your personal credit.
It's based on your personal credit, but it doesn't report to your personal credit.
Gotcha. Okay.
So they look at, okay, how they doing over there? Okay. And so you typically want your personal credit cards to be over $5,000 because you want to be able to leverage and get more on your business side. Like if you have credit cards that are $500, they're not going to give you nothing on the business side. Yeah. Like you're not doing nothing over here. Yeah. So we always say have your accounts, your credit limit should be over $5,000 for each account that you have.
Okay, so is the $100,000 on each card, or that's total for all four cards?
Total.
So then what we do with it?
So what I like to teach people is take half of that, invest it in your business, and take another half and invest it in something that's cash flowing.
Okay.
And why I do that is because the cash flowing thing can service the debt. Because when you first start business, you're just like, you got to pay for coaches, you got to pay for this. And so you have all these things that you need to pay for. But you need to find something, and I wish someone would have taught me this. Find something that's cash flowing and let it service your debt.
Like a property.
Like a turnkey property. Not rehab.
Tell the people the difference. Okay. Rehab is all the flipping everybody's doing on Instagram.
It's the flipping, and it's not a good time to do it because I be feeling like I go too deep. But
go deep.
Listen, I have been studying the economy, and I didn't realize that I'm like a nerd like that. But I started studying like the Great Depression like about 6 months ago. And I found that there were 4 factors that played into the Great Depression. And so we had the first factor, which was a global pandemic, which is the Spanish flu that lasted for 2 years, and millions of people died. The second was the stock market crashed. The third was high unemployment. And the fourth was war. Now, there was a fifth factor. They don't really talk about it a lot, but it was global trading slowed down. Well, right now, no one's talking about it, really. You can Google it, but it's not really on the news, and that's why we don't need to watch the news. But
come on, somebody.
Only reason why I know this is I have a friend that's in import-export, and he told me that China has not been shipping anything. Nothing. FedEx just announced that their shipment from China was half of what it was, and there's like, containers that come from China, there's usually like 99 at the port. There's 7. So we have basically
these are
all
the things
the factors.
Nobody's talking about. Yeah.
Yes, we have all the factors of a Great Depression, but our society, it was so hard for them to say recession. They still haven't said it. So I think they're just going to call this the Great Opportunity. Like whatever they're going to call it, we have all the factors that led to the economy kind of crashing, right? And so flipping, I'm going back into property, it wouldn't be a good time to do it because the materials are high right now. Getting people in the workforce, high unemployment, getting people to actually do it may be challenging. So you might be putting out more on a property when you can just buy something that someone already lives in that's being sold.
That's turnkey.
They live in it. It's already
generating income, right?
So I always tell people, choose your bank. Okay, you can get a $50,000 car and pay $700 a month for that car, plus gas and insurance. You can get $50,000 and put it into a duplex, and it's cash flow. Someone's giving you money every month for the $50,000, or you can just put the $50,000 in the bank, and the bank is giving you nothing. So when you're starting a business, the way that I like to structure my clients is, okay, how much money do you have? Take a portion of that, and let's put it into something that is generating income, because it'll pay you forever if you don't sell it. Just let it pay you forever.
So you are, part of your program is you teaching people how to do this.
Yes.
You're specifically focused on one market, right?
One market. I want to simplify everything because I see where we're going. I don't want to make it, we do this and we do that. No, let's focus on cash flowing assets and not to be a business.
So the people ain't going to buy up everything?
No, it's never saturated.
Can I still get in where I fit in?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I was asking for myself.
It's there. Like, it's never, there's always room. I think that people, when we talk about scarcity, people that watch the news, they never get off the couch to actually go see. But there is an abundance everywhere. Like, we bought a condo in Africa like 2 years ago, and I told my husband, I was telling him, we're going to go into a recession. Like, I told him, we were calculating how much do we spend in summer camp and all this stuff. How much would we spend if we stayed in Africa for 3 months for the summer? It's like half. The most expensive thing is the flight. And so I just started looking at things and like just changing things around because, yeah, we just have to.
You're spending the money. You might as well spend it in a smarter way.
And so people would say, don't buy in Africa. They say all these things, but then you never see those people do anything. Like, for me, I found out by actually flying there first. Like, what's going on here? And then when I went, I said, oh my gosh, like, this reminds me of, I went to some area in Cleveland that reminded me of an area by USC. I was like, oh, this is just like, so it felt like the opportunity. You know how we say, like, man, I wish our grandparents, but I wish I had bought this. We still have those opportunities.
So what kind of real, again, this is a personal question. I hope y'all don't mind. But what type of numbers are we talking about to legit be able to make some of these moves? Are we talking about 200K or
No,
was
ma'am.
the 50K a real number?
50K I have deals in my phone currently. You can buy 45K. You can buy 2 properties for 90.
Not turnkey though.
Turnkey. There are people living in them already.
Okay, don't send them to nobody. We're going to talk about that after. So, okay.
People are living there. And you know why I feel like those opportunities are there? And it's the same thing during the Great Depression. People start to get scared, right? And they don't want to continue to invest. And I was listening to this book. It's called The Psychology of Money. And it was talking about how money is really something, the market is really based off of people's emotion. They said history doesn't really repeat itself. People repeat the same type of behavior. And so when they're watching the news and the news is telling them all these things.
All this terrible stuff.
Right. They start to do things, right? And when they start to do things, the market changes. And so when people get scared, like Warren Buffett said, that's when it's time to go in. And so you can't change people's mindset about money. You can react to the market. And so when people are afraid,
now's the time to go in.
Yeah, I used to be the person. This is why I didn't make the money that I wanted to make, because I would spend so much time convincing people that were committed to staying poor. And I just felt so bad. I'm like, no, I want to teach my Black women. I was the one like, I want to do this for the single moms. No, they're not ready.
You can't save
All
them.
you have to do, like what I'm convicted of, is just still becoming her. I always say become her, becoming the person that people say, okay, next year I want to do that. That's the way we need to teach now. I don't need to go back and it's just, no.
Trying to save the people.
No.
It's hard when you have a heart though, like you said, because you care so much. I care more about your situation than you do. And it's tough. And a lot of good people miss out because we're so stuck on I want to do right by the people, and the people don't want to do right by themselves.
No. And honestly, I'll just say I think seeing what happened to Nipsey really opened my eyes again to, you can have great intention. Like, I used to sell the tea, the TOCT.
The tummy tea.
Yes. And I went to Nipsey and I was like, hey, can I put this in the, so it wasn't the Marathon store at that time. But he let me put my tea in there. Like that, it was just like whatever. And so to have somebody that is, you hire everybody, right? You do all these things. And I just saw that. You can have great intention. And someone still will misunderstand it. Someone still
will want to take it. Someone will be mad at you for having it.
So I think for Black people, I think the best thing that we can do is continue to elevate and be an inspiration. Like, that's the Profitable Proverbs is her. Like, she be that woman, right?
Mm-hmm.
She didn't go back. She positioned herself. And I think that's the best thing for us to do, and not try to stay accessible.
And just bring all the people. It's like,
They need to come
it's
up.
like Harriet Tubman saying, she could have freed so many more people if they knew they were
Had they
slaves.
known they were slaves.
Yeah, it's like we are trying to talk to so many people who don't even realize that they need it, or they don't want it because they don't even
Her
see that they
sister
need
died in slavery. She went back to free her sister, and her sister was like, I will
Ain't
scream.
trying to hear it. Yeah.
I saw that movie, like that, what happened to my brother, like all of that was an eye opener. Why? How many times do you have to see? Go take care of yourself. You still have to go back, but Harriet saved the people that ran.
The people who were already taking
Who were
action,
ready
who
and
were
in
already
position.
moving.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I love it. Okay, I do want to get into the Proverbs 31 woman
Yes.
and the principles.
Yes.
But first, how much we need to buy a condo in Africa, apartment in Africa?
Well, so in Ethiopia, you actually have to be a citizen. So, but
Okay.
there's opportunity in Ghana
Okay.
where you can buy land. I met.
But that's
with,
not, is that turnkey? That's not turnkey.
No.
Yeah, no.
Doing Ghana is a small project,
Okay.
but you have to like know someone and all of that. So just making the connections is important. I
Gotcha.
met with the country director of business. Her name is Barbara of Ghana. And she was like, we want to do business with you guys, meaning Black people.
That's what I've heard so many times.
We got to go.
Yeah.
I'm still over in East Africa because my husband's from there. So there you have to be a citizen.
Gotcha.
So that was my, that's the benefit in being.
Yeah.
But in Ghana, the money exchange, I think that is good to do it while American dollar still is worth something to get more. I do believe Black people need to, my vision, don't get me started.
Get started.
Like, why don't we take our kids in the summer to Africa?
Because we're scared.
Right? But how much money? Because we're spending money. We're giving money to the white community for their summer camps. So, like, why aren't we? How much? Africa for me was healing. Like, it changed me as a woman. Like, it changed that trauma that I had as a Black person. That was the first place that I went and felt welcomed. I was like, oh wait,
This
I don't
is
have
different.
to. Yeah, but one of my visions or goals that I would like to, is very ambitious, but I would like to have Black children in Africa for the summers. And so that would give us an opportunity to really bridge a lot of gaps, to do a lot of business, to buy property. Like, that's one thing that I definitely want to do.
And they just grow up learning these things versus us trying to learn so late in life.
Yeah, like why do we like want to go to Europe? We don't have history there. We're like, oh, we're gonna go to London. Send our kids back, like let them get a real life history lesson every summer. And it's super cheap.
Is it super cheap?
It's the most expensive thing is the
flight.
After that, honestly, let me tell you, the last time we went, because we haven't gone in 2 years because of the pandemic, but the hotel for 3 weeks was $250. And they had breakfast. You don't even have to wash your own hands. Like, you have someone wash your hands for you. Like, you don't have to do, you can
This
get
is
your
in
braids
Ethiopia.
done. Yes, you can get your braids done for $20. Like, it's cheap and it's peaceful. It's
You know what's
The
not
de-stressor.
peaceful? My baby on the flight. That's the only
I know.
thing that
I
I'm thinking
know.
about.
Yeah.
How long is that flight?
So going to Ethiopia, it's definitely a layover. It's about 24 hours, including the layover, because the layover is about, you'll stop in Dubai for about 8 or 9 hours. You can get a little,
Yeah.
and then from Dubai, it's 4 hours.
And you take all of your children.
So I've only taken two.
Of 5, y'all. She got 5 whole children. We're about
Yes.
to get into that because if y'all thought she was bad already, sis got 5 whole babies that she birthed.
Yes.
That she birthed.
Yes.
Okay, let's get into the Proverbs 31 woman.
Yes.
Because for my non-religious, non-biblically familiar folks, explain who the Proverbs 31
and I was
woman
so
is.
oblivious that people didn't know that, But Proverbs 31 is a scripture that is in the Bible. It's not anything, I'm not trying to get people to believe in the Bible, but I definitely saw a woman that was taught to us as just being a wife.
Mm-hmm.
It was like, oh, I'm the Proverbs 31 woman. And so how I kind of went back into it, I was asking God, like, okay, what am I supposed to be talking about? And I immediately saw a woman, a businesswoman. and he was like, you need to talk about identity. Like, I need you to go deep about the identity of a woman. And so I no longer saw a wife in there. It was a woman that was really about her business. And so when I first started studying it, I found 12 principles, and now I have about 14. But one of the scriptures that I teach when I talk about make, manage, and multiply is from Proverbs 31, verse 15 and 16. It says that she plans her day for her servants. And it says she inspects a field. She inspected a field. She bought it. And with her earnings, she planted a vineyard. So it's the make, manage, multiply. So I just saw a woman. I'm like, what woman?
The like epitome, the prototype.
Yes. It says that she plans her day for her servants. What woman has a servant? We use that word, but what it really means is a worker. That means she's busy. That means she's delegating tasks. You know, she's taking care. She has payroll. She's taking care of people. And then it says she inspects the field. So she's already projecting that she needs to put her money somewhere. She's like, okay, I need to find where to put this money. She inspects the field. It says that she buys it, right? So she takes action. And it says with her earnings. So she bought something that was profitable.
Yep.
It was profitable. It didn't say that she waited. It said that with her earnings, she planted a vineyard. And so the planting the vineyard is something that is over time. Like you don't plant a vineyard and the next day you're eating grapes. Like you're over time. So she took her earnings and she didn't go buy a bag. No, which is not I actually don't have a designer bag. Like I don't care. Cause
shut up. Not one. That's not your thing.
No, because my background is Muslim and we went into Christianity, but I've never felt I needed to be validated by European people. So I just didn't. And
I got a bag. I do have a bag.
There's nothing wrong with a bag.
I appreciate you saying that because that is like a mindset shift for so many people.
Yeah, I don't see anything wrong with it, and I don't even go like, oh.
But that's just not you're not measuring yourself to that standard. My brain is not
going there. I'm not like, let me go and tell people. No, like my symbol of like loving myself and symbols of like wealth is like, I want to make as much money as possible. I want to go build an orphanage. I want to house them in there. I want to train them, to position them, and then I want to get them like in the best position and deploy them for like my money. I want to spend it to multiply. So I just don't.
You're not even thinking like that.
I'm not even thinking like that. Like when we went to Africa, we got the condo, but I told my husband, I says, we need to find another place. And we found a house at the time. I wish we would have bought it. We didn't buy it. It was 13 bedrooms. And I told him, whatever house that we buy here, it has to have a garden because I want the kids that live there, I want them to learn how to plant their own food. And so my brain is just always like, okay, what's next? You know, because all that stuff would actually pay for, like, buy something that will pay for it.
Right.
You know, I just don't.
That's not your thing.
No. And look, I hired a stylist and she was like trying to change, you know, all this stuff about me. And I just was like, for some reason, my heart was not in her. I was like, I will wear all black for like, no. Like, I understand what people want.
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to give a little pop of red because I like red. I might have this or that. But my brain is just like on a deeper mission right now. Mm-hmm. So I don't even care about people trying to count my pockets. It's like, stay on that. But the impact that God is going to make is going to be so huge.
Y'all gonna see it though.
Yeah.
Yes. I love it. Okay, so how are you presenting the Profitable Proverbs 31 woman? Is it like a coaching program? Is it a course?
So that is my inner circle. That's my higher level. So we have Pretty on Paper, which is just lower level, the lower tier where people are learning about credit. But the Profitable Proverbs, they're learning about credit, business credit, and we're going to go and buy cash flowing assets.
And you're buying a vineyard.
And planting plant the vineyard.
I love it. Okay. Speaking of planting the vineyard, sowing the seeds, let's talk about these seeds, these 5 babies, because how the hell are you doing all of this with 5 children?
You know,
And a whole husband.
I don't have an answer, honestly. I think I make things work. I see what I have and I try to make it work. That's all I do. And, I was previously married. So I have 2 kids that live with dad.
Okay.
But we're like literally 3 minutes away from each other, right? So I think the way I'm able to do it with all the challenges that I have coming with being a parent is letting go.
Hard. How do you do that?
Well, like the co-parenting thing, right? Some people would say, well, why would you let your daughters live? But I understood how vital my dad's role was in my life, right? So I can hold on to that and I can do the custody and the this and the that. And I was just like, no, we're going to make this as easy as possible. We're going to stay close to each other and we're still going to be present. But I think me letting go of trying to fit into what society says a woman and a mom should be, like, I don't really care what people say a mom should be. I'm doing what works for me and I'm doing what works for my kids. And every single child needs something different. And so I think once I released myself of trying to be the helicopter mom, trying to be the mommy and me mom, like, I'm not her. I
really wanted to be her. It's hard.
No.
It's so hard.
I'm not her, and that's okay. But what I've seen is the mommy and me mom, she lacks identity sometimes. Everything
gets lost
is about
in that. Yeah.
Yeah, like people say, I'm a mom first. Well, I'm not a mom first. I'm a woman first. Because before I was a mom, I was a woman. Before I was a wife, I was a woman. So like my identity is so into who God is telling me to be, and all the other things are accessories, And so that's how I look at it. People don't look at it that's fine, but it allows me to freely go out and build what it is that I'm trying to build, knowing that I'm positioning my children for what they want. Because like my 2 daughters, they're daddy's girls. Why would I fight that? You know what I mean? Like, we're not going to fight that.
Because you could be selfish like a lot of other people are because they want to hold on so tight.
For what?
Yeah.
I don't know. So I just don't subscribe to that. Like,
you know what first drew me to you? Because Aneesa and I are part of a mastermind together, and I don't know how old my son was when I first started coming to the meetings, but homegirl pulled up with the baby stroller in the meeting, was taking the baby out, was nursing the baby in the meeting, and I was just like, this is the epitome of, I don't have no excuses.
None.
I'm showing up for myself.
Every time.
Baby, you just gonna get in, you gonna fall in line, and y'all gonna deal with it. I mean, the sweetest baby, she didn't make a peep. She was quiet. She didn't make a peep. You wouldn't know she was there if you didn't see her. But I just felt like, wow.
Yeah.
That to me was like, nobody in this room has an excuse because homegirl showed up with this baby from California. Yeah. I still don't know how you was doing that long ass flight with that baby, but you were doing it. You've done it so many times.
I don't know. Like, I still don't have answers.
You just do what you gotta do.
Yeah, I just do it.
I love it. I love it. Okay, so last question before we get into the game. Advice for a woman out there who is divorced, is feeling like she's, losing faith in finding a husband, doesn't know how to get back out there. What's your advice?
I always tell people, like, if you get so busy working on becoming the woman that someone would marry, like, you don't really have nothing to worry. Like, I've never had a problem finding a husband. Like, never, ever. Because I wasn't really, my identity is not in that. I know that whatever man that's with me, he's going to get something really great, because before I even met my husband, I was working on Aneesa. I met my husband in Africa, and I had no intentions on being married again, but I did ask God specifically for some things. So I think being very specific about what you want, and not letting your past kind of, because people will say, I don't want this. No, I said what I wanted, right?
Ooh, say it again.
Yes,
Stop focusing on what you don't want.
Yeah, because you'll get out of a relationship and you're constantly talking about what it wasn't, what he wasn't. It's like, he gone, baby. And to be just straight up, I mean, my ex-husband would probably still remarry me. Like, I feel like I bring, I'm just saying, like, I feel like I am the table. So I don't feel like someone is completing me. I feel like we are bringing together. So I think shifting, really understanding your identity as a woman could be a huge asset to the next relationship. Not taking your past into your present and then stating what you want. Is it going to be perfect? No. I mean, I have a husband from a whole country. The way that he looks at things is just completely different. But that works for me. Mm-hmm. I don't need someone to think like me. It's challenging sometimes, but I mean, it has opened other doors that I would have never, and I see the world differently because of him too. So I would say identity is key, knowing who you are. And that's what I talk about, the Profitable Proverbs 31. And then the second thing I would say is don't look for him. Just be her. Start working on, I had this lady tell me like, well, I just want a husband. I said, well, what you going to do with him? That was my question. What are you going to do with him? I said, do you know how to cook? Like, what are you, after having sex with him, what do you bring to the table? She had no answer. I said, that's what you need to work on. You need to be so busy.
Ooh, she ain't want to hear that, did she?
No, she didn't like it. But you need to be so busy working on yourself. Like, when he comes, you ready. You're not sitting there like, I wish somebody, like, I'm not a person that is like, position yourself for a man. No, just be her. Like, be the woman that is so irresistible that a man is like,
I gotta
Can I just
her.
say this, Koereyelle? Like, I had 3 kids when I met my husband. And in his culture, to be a divorced woman with kids is like a no-no, right? But I told God I didn't want a man with kids. And I was, like my mom said, know your limitations. And I didn't want a man with kids because I knew that I would not be good to some other people's kid. Like, I know that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to focus on
enough to know that.
I know. So it's be aware of yourself. Like, don't settle. And settling doesn't mean that person is bad, but know what you can handle. I don't want a man with kids. And they're like, well, you have kids. How are you going to say it's not going to work? So I married a man who didn't have kids, and he went totally against his culture. But I'm sure, I mean, listen, when you got to be her.
Gotta be
Just
her.
work on being her.
Work on being her. Stop looking for the man and become the woman.
Just become the woman.
Drop the mic on that. All right. So we are going to play a round of Pull Your Card. Inside this game, there is a mashup of all of your favorite party games, from Taboo to Heads Up to Categories to This or That to Never Ever Have I Ever. But we're not getting that spicy.
Please.
We're just going to play a little round of trivia. So I always think that these are pretty easy.
Okay.
And then the people let me down. So I have faith in you.
Let's go.
Let's go. All right. Question number 1.
All right.
What was Steve Urkel's cousin's name on Family Matters? And if y'all know the answer, drop it in the chat. Steve Urkel, he had a cousin on Family Matters. What was that cousin's name?
I know his face. Waldo?
No. That was Eddie's best friend. Okay.
Oh.
It's so clear. We need some sound effects like.
But I got a name, though.
That was the character. You were right. Okay. You ready for this one?
Yes.
She couldn't afford a car, so she named her daughter
Alexis.
Okay.
Yes, that's my cousin. I don't care what y'all say about Kanye. That's my cousin.
Okay. Stand with your man. Okay. Where is Bruno Mars's condo?
I got a condo in I'm sipping wine in the road. I look too good. I don't know. I got a condo in.
Baby girl, what's happening?
I don't know.
Okay, I'll tell you offline. Y'all need to put it in the chat. Put it in the chat. You were really close though. You said Miami. You were close. Who played Martin Lawrence's sister in Bad Boys 2?
Gabrielle.
Okay, she was confident about that one. Last one. Can you get it? What did Kevin Hart go to school and say to his teacher?
He did like this.
He did like that?
He was like, some. And
You're
what
gonna
did he say?
half of a point for knowing the action.
He did like this.
He did do that.
He was like, mind your business.
There you go. Yes. Okay. 4 out of 5. Well, no, you got 2 out of 5.
What?
3 out of 5. You
I
got
got
3 out of
more.
5. You got 3 out of 5.
Okay.
You got Alexis, Gabrielle Union, and I'm going to give you some credit for Kevin Hart.
Yes.
Okay.
That's my boy, too.
Aneesa, I love you.
I love you, too.
If y'all, by the way, side note, if y'all listen to not this past solo episode, but last week's solo episode, you are a bamboo. Boo. This is who I was referencing. This was the inspiration behind the episode. If you have not heard it, go take a listen, because when I tell you, you are just everything. Even David was like, your guest is just so sweet. And I was like, and she really is. Like, it isn't just like, you really, truly are who you say you are. And I appreciate you. I think everybody who comes in contact is just like you said, how he's just like, I got to have some of that. That's not just a man thing. It's like a spirit thing. It's like your aura, your vibe, your energy. So just giving you your flowers while I have the opportunity. So for the people who can't get enough and want some more, look in this camera right here and let them know where they can find you online, how they can find you on social media.
Phone number.
And
I don't.
We'll tell me later and we'll put it in the
because I don't remember
notes.
it.
It's okay.
But you can find me on Instagram at I am Aneesa Getaneh. And there is this number that I have.
Some number. It'll be in there later.
But I do want to give your audience. So I have a lender list.
Okay.
Where they can see what banks pull from what.
Okay.
Kind of helps them with their business credit. So
Yes.
we'll give your audience that.
Okay, we'll drop the link.
Yeah. So that's where they can find me on Instagram.
Yes, follow her on Instagram. She's always dropping free game. And she's full of game, y'all, as you can see. Okay, whether you want to start a nursing school, whether you want to get your credit together so you can be pretty on paper, or if you aspire to be the profitable Proverbs 31 woman, she is your girl. Y'all, she's the bomb.com. I told y'all she was. I told you she was. Another amazing episode. Don't be selfish. Share this with a friend, okay? Full of free games, so many gems. Go back and watch the replay in case you came in late. Another amazing episode. Thank y'all for tuning in. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe. And if you're listening to this on Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Stitcher, Spotify, make sure you leave your girl a 5-star review. See you on the next episode. Peace. Girl, hey, I hope you enjoyed that video. This channel is all about encouraging you to stop playing with your potential and start working for what you want in life and in love. So make sure you hit that subscribe button so that you'll be notified when the next video drops. And comment below and let me know what you want to see on the next video. Peace out.